As we are approaching 2 years since the last release of a Juice WRLD album, and rumors of another one in the works, I want to take a look at Juice WRLD's entire discography and rank it from worst to best. Just like in the previous video, I will be using a color code system to rank each song and create a tier list within the album. Again, this is inspired by Chris Ranks, so once again, thank you so much. Also, let me know in the comment section below your personal ranking and opinions on certain songs I might have not covered or I did cover in the video. And with all that being said, I hope you enjoy, and let's jump into the number 4 spot. At the number 4 spot, we have Fighting Demons. This album was released on December 10th, 2021, and would serve as Juice WRLD's second posthumous album, along with Legends Never Die. This project shifts its focus from talking more than just about heartbreak and women specifically. This dives deeper into topics like drugs, anxiety, and depression, and even topics of death. This to me is the last on the list because the majority of the track list feels filler with a few standout songs here and there. I will say the theme of this album is something I like, as it touches on Juice WRLD's battle with his personal demons, but in all honesty, it just feels like they released this album just for some quick cash. I understand that at the end of the day this is for money, but Legends Never Die, the first posthumous album from Juice WRLD, it felt genuine. Now looking at the track list, the yellow tier has the following songs: You Wouldn't Understand, Eminem Speaks, Doom, Juice WRLD Speaks, From My Window, Girl in My Dreams, Feel Alone, My Life in a Nutshell, and Rich and Blind. One commonality with every song in this specific category is that it's forgettable in the grand scheme of the project. 2 of the songs consist of snippets, one from Eminem detailing his drug addiction in Juice WRLD's Billboard interview where he talks about opening up about his problems and channeling that energy into his music. Both have impactful messages for sure, but not enough for it to be in the green tier personally. Also, we have Rich and Blind, which was originally released on June 19, 2018, and this song details a path of feeling lost yet having a purpose, like living that fast life, and also tributing the late artists Lil Peep and XXX Tentacion as well, with it being released on the day after X died and being a 2-pack with having the songs Rich and Blind and Legends. I mean, even if you look at the cover art for it too, it's a Instagram DM exchange with X. Moving on to the green tier, we have the following songs: Already Dead, Rockstar in His Prime, Go Hard 2.0, Not Enough, Feline, Relocate, Juice WRLD Speaks 2, Until the Plug Comes Back Around, Go Hard, and Legends. Some highlights from this tier are both versions of Go Hard. At first, truthfully, I did not know why they added 2 songs when they sounded the exact same, but then I realized that there's an extended version on the 2.0. I also love the beat selection on this track, which is something I wish I could say more as the video goes on. You will see what I'm talking about, but nonetheless, the beat sets this pace, this slow pace, hard hitting song. It is about Ali. Pretty much almost all of his songs from this album and Legends Never Die and even Death Race for Love is about Ali, but this one, I like the slow pace, hard hitting. It definitely is something that it's like in his own world. This song kind of has this like own world song. Usually some songs, it can feel like it's one big project, like one big song, listening to multiple. But this one is in his old world, and I really like that. Then we have Rockstar in His Prime. This song talks about his struggles with living the fast life, and yet again, his struggles with drug addiction, talking about, taking perks and whatever. Oh, I don't feel right. Sipping lean is going to make me fly. Definitely just some hard-hitting lyrics. However, what stands out to me in this track is the beat selection again, and I like the catchy flow on it. Definitely something that I like, it's enjoyable. Might not be one of my favorite songs, but when it does come on, it's a vibe. Moving on to the cyan tier, we have Burn, Sometimes, and Water to LA. I absolutely love these songs, and starting with Burn, I love how the beat sets this dark tone for the duration of the track. As a result, it enhances the lyrics and vocals. This song also mentions a dream Juice WRLD had, and this was later detailed by Ali in an Instagram live after the fact.
He told me all about it. It woke me up oh yeah, I had a dream, blah blah blah, and like I was like trying to wake him up because he would like have like jolts and shit in his dream.
Sometimes was another track that was unreleased for years on end. I think anyone who listens to Juice World at least, has a bit more of an understanding of the whole unreleased game. This was one of those tracks that was unreleased and they finally put it and made it official. I really like this track. I like how it captures the atmosphere of loneliness and hopelessness perfectly. And I can say that even though it used to be one of those songs where, I would listen to extensively and now I kind of not really on it anymore, it is still, I will give credit where credit is due. Despite this album being kind of a dud in my opinion, this does perfectly fit with the theme of this album. And I really, really like that. Wandered to LA is one of Juice WRLD's positive, upbeat songs that really it sparks this adventure and ambition feel to the song. I don't know what it is, but this song just makes me really just want to go outside, travel, and just let the world not even take control of what's happening in my life, but just living and letting whatever happens to my life happen. Kind of maybe a weird way to describe it, but also the feature from Justin Bieber adds another dynamic to the song and what truly makes it a special song in my opinion. I believe that with this song alone, it is possibly in the green tier, maybe green, high green, low cyan, but with the feature from Justin Bieber, I will say that this elevates to a for sure cyan tier without any doubt, and possibly even a blue tier. I feel like with time, this song could be a blue tier, and that's just gonna come with time, man. Last but not least, we have Cigarettes, the only blue tier song in this album. This track is accompanied by an acoustic guitar in the background that makes this track feel more authentic, and the lyrics detailing his love for Allie makes this a unique type of love song that, to me at least, it covers external love via Allie, but also still has hints of internal loneliness. Like, this is one of those tracks where, okay, you got yourself a girl, whatever, like you might be happy on the surface, but deep down you might still feel lonely. And this track right here just really captivates that. As I said before, it's a unique type of love song in a way, details even his love for drugs, love for his girl. And truthfully, even to this day, I still haven't found a song that can capture the same feel for it. And because of that, this will forever be a staple, and not only in this album. I'm glad that this was finally released officially, but this will also serve as be a staple in Juice's catalog as a whole. With all that being said, I feel comfortable putting this at number 4, and now let's move on to number 3. At number 3 on the list, we have Death Race for Love. This is Juice WRLD's second album that was released. It was released on March 8th, 2019, serving as the follow-up to his debut album, Goodbye and Good Riddance. Going into this album, I was wondering what Juice WRLD would talk about, as, we all know from the Goodbye and Good Riddance, that was mainly about Bella, and what would he talk about now? Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, around this time period when he was recording the songs, or even when it was released, he was already with Allie. So it was like, all right, what is he going to talk about here? Will this be primarily about Allie? Will it be more heartbreak? Is it going to be more topics of drugs? What is it going to be? What are we going to expect from here? And I think upon listening to it, it actually kind of expanded my view a bit more. And it was like, okay, we got a variety of songs here. We got more hype songs from Juice WRLD. We'll get into that, of course. And we still got the songs about Allie, drugs. So, predictions weren't really truthfully completely off. But, nonetheless, it was a good album. And I cannot wait to get into it here. Starting again with the yellow tier, we have the tracks Desire, On God, Won't Let Go, She's the One, Rider, and Make Believe. These tracks are kind of duds in my opinion, and it kind of sucks that this came at like the end of the album, towards the end. It's like a lot of yellows, because it was definitely like, all right, the beginning was cool, the middle was decent, but now we kind of ended on a dud, making my kind of opinion a little bit skewed. But nonetheless, man, these are kind of duds. These are ones where I really don't care about. They can be skipped. I don't hate them per se, but I don't really like them. There's something I just get through if I want to listen to the full album. On the green tier, we have the tracks Maze, Emotions, Demons, Fast, Big, Who Shot Cupid, Ring Ring, Out My Way, The Bee's Knees, in 10 Feet. Starting with the 10 Feet track, I was a bit surprised hearing it because it happened to have Daniel Caesar's track Who Hurt You, which again is a banger track, man. It's absolutely beautiful. It was playing throughout the whole song, while Juice WRLD was freestyling. And I really like about this song is the tone in it. I think with Juice WRLD letting the song play out a bit, then you got him rapping. He has this really serious tone, which honestly, like, it makes this more like anything. It enhances his lyrics in a way. He kind of takes breaks in between each verse. The spacing on it is beautiful. Obviously, you got Daniel Caesar playing in the background, bits and pieces of it, of course. It's not the full entire song, but I really like it, man. I genuinely like the song. 10 Feet actually does remind me of Guardian Angel from X, when, from the last video, we talked about how Guardian Angel is basically Jocelyn Flores. The beat was played in reverse and he was freestyling over it. Gives me the same type of vibe. So, of course, I would recommend listening to both and telling me down below, hey, do you agree with it? You know what I'm saying? Because I personally think they're pretty much in the same kind of group in terms of songs. Also, Out My Way is another track I like. As I stated previously, we don't really get to see too much of the hype version of Juice WRLD. Now, obviously, I'm more into I dabble into some of his unreleased tracks, so maybe he has more hype songs that are unreleased. But, when it comes to hype songs, I'm really only looking at the release portion. And this song I really like. It wasn't completely hype, like as another song we're going to talk about here, but it's for sure something that a different side of Juice WRLD, which, I love to see as well, because, he does portray this, he does live this lifestyle of being like a rock star and kind of the fast life. And for him to, it makes sense for him to make this kind of sad music. But also, in a way, I'm like, where's the hype music? I feel like living this lifestyle, you're bound to make hype music, So it's good to see that this was added into the album, of course, and hopefully moving forward, if another album decides to drop, we can get more of this type of music. Moving to this cyan tier, we have Hear Me Calling, Flaws and Sins, Feeling, Bandit, and Syphilis. If I even pronounce that right. I legit had to look this up mid-recording. These tracks are the heart. To me, they're the heart and soul of the album. These tracks are unique, but connected in a way. So let's just get the real hype song out of the way first. This right here, I saw a comment in the actual audio version of it talking about this is Black Force Energy. This is Juice WRLD's Look at Me version. And I can't agree more, bro. This song, the more I listen to it, the more and more it's good. I don't think it's blue tier yet, and I don't really think it'll get blue tier. I think hype songs, while hype songs to me at least, they're kind of capped out in the cyan tier. I don't know if I have a legendary hype song, and this for sure isn't one, but it's for sure 1000% for this album and for who we are talking about, who makes, again, majority sad music. This is a banger. Absolutely love it. I love the flow. I love the beat on here. And I just love just the energy in this song, really. Hear Me Calling and Flaws and Sins are both similar songs talking about love. And I can see why these songs are the highlight of the album. I love the upbeat sound from Hear Me Calling, personally. It makes me feel like this is kind of like a summertime song to vibe to. It's something I enjoyed as well. And it was on 2K, of course. Shout out 2K. For Flaws and Sins, I love the instrumental in the back here. I love the guitar, and it has this kind of rock and roll element to the mix of it. And I also love, this is maybe just me looking at it really deep, but the lyrics as well. It's kind of like you look at someone's scars, right? And he's saying that he's looking at this girl's scar, which I'm assuming is Allie in this case, and that they're gorgeous, they're beautiful. And I think that's a cool way of showing appreciation to someone via their flaws. I mean, ironically, usually we point out, especially in this world now we live in, it's like we point out people's perfections and we kind of disregard the people's flaws. You can't really show your flaws on the internet or just anything else, really, honestly, in real life. But it's good to know that, you can still appreciate it and love him for that aspect. Kind of a deep way to look at it, but I don't know, that's just something that came to mind when I listened to the song. Then we have Robbery at the blues here. All right, this song is a masterpiece because I love the emotion and the non-verbal, I guess, cues you could say that comes from the song. While the beat is pretty decent, it's Juice's vocals that take it from a cyan tier to a solidified blue tier. This track has traces of insecurity, heartbreak, and anguish written all over this. This sounds authentic and truly from someone that is heartbroken and broken mentally. I remember the first time I listened to this, it felt like it was like a person actually talking to me. I know that's kind of corny, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? But it actually felt like when I listened to it, someone was for real talking. It felt really just authentic, and I loved it. I just love how it can captivate these emotions and create a space where it feels like the artist and the listener are kind of like in this one room. Like, it's kind of crazy how he was able to captivate that. Now, I will say, if a better beat selection was to occur, if you get a better beat, I can 1000% guarantee it would definitely be legendary. Because like I said, you just add that, and that's a common theme where, I feel like Juice WRLD songs, they're good, but if you just, if you get the beat just a little bit right, I feel like they can go from like good to really good. It's sad to think that this was Juice WRLD's like last album, because you think about where he was at the time in 2019 when he dropped this, and even where he could have been at now. Like, where would he have gone? How would his projects look now? Would Legends, I don't think a Legends Never Die would have dropped, but how would Fighting Demons or The Party Never Ends, how would that drop? How would his career be in general? But it's sad to think, like I said, this is his last one. But with all that being said, man, let's get to number 2. At the number 2 spot, we have Legends Never Die. This is Juice WRLD's third album and his first posthumous release since his death. This album was released on July 10th, 2020, and this for me is the best posthumous album release I've ever listened to, out of just from any artist in general, not even just, Juice specifically. This album truly felt like it was carefully handpicked and not just like, okay, let's just slap a bunch of songs. It genuinely felt like it was like really listened to, handpicked and everything. And it took an emotional moment, with Juice's passing, and it made it even more like just able to captivate this emotion. It just was able to captivate a deeper emotion and ride off that momentum, off of Juice's death, and then boom, you drop an album that's really good. 100% perfect timing by the album or from the label. Starting with the yellow tier, we have Anxiety, Get Through It, and The Man, the Myth, the Legend. These songs are a bit more, I believe, just talking. They're more just clips from maybe interviews or even just voice memos. I know Chris Long Films was vlogging basically Juice WRLD this whole time, so it's probably from there. So, but it's just a bunch of clips. Specifically, The Man, the Myth, the Legend is a bunch of people talking about Juice and just about how he was rap wise and just his character. Like, it was just truthfully, good message. I like the concept behind this via me giving it a yellow, but it's obviously not something I'm really looking forward to. It's something I can skip easily. Same thing with the yellow tier. I don't think I should have to explain what the yellow tier is anymore. If it's in there, you kind of know why it's in there. In the green tier, we have Titanic, Bad Energy, Tell Me You Love Me, Come and Go, I Want It, Screw Juice, Stay High, Can't Die, and Juice WRLD Speaks from Heaven. Going through these songs, I really like Titanic because the way the beat comes in, it's like a hard-hitting beat, and also just like the lyrics, this is just like, if negative self-talk in your head was the song, it would be Titanic. That's the vibe I get from this, where like, this is pure negative self-talk, via him talk about, oh, he's messing up, he's a mistake, like he's messing up again. Like, it's just that type of energy he brings to it, and Truthfully, if he wants to captivate that, which he did it perfectly in my opinion. Bad Energy, Tell Me You Love Me are songs where, they were kind of building up for it. Bad Energy was okay. Like, it wasn't nothing necessarily like really eye-popping about it. It was just like a nice little tune. Tell Me You Love Me, at first, I can't lie, it was about to be in the yellow for like majority of the song. It was there, but then it started picking up at the end, which made it better, and ultimately maybe decided to put it in the green tier. Juice WRLD Speaks from Heaven is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, an Instagram live that Juice WRLD had. And I really like it. I like the concept of it. It was definitely creative. Again, this is one of them talking clips, so it's like, but the way it ends, it's a beautiful ending to a beautiful album. So that's what honestly made me put it in the green tier, because I'm like, all right, I don't like, talking songs are I'll be real, I'm kind of, it's really hard for me to put it in the green, but just the way it ended, man, the piano in the beginning, it was beautiful. At the cyan tier, we have a plethora of songs, starting with Conversations, Righteous, Blood on My Jeans, Smile, Hate the Other Side, Fighting Demons, Wishing Well, Up Up and Away, and The Man of the Year. The Man of the Year is a nice rock song. I know there was a discrepancy about, though the original one versus like the one, I believe they're like different on like Spotify and YouTube is different. People wanted, the original one. That people didn't like the version that was on Spotify, I believe. And there was just that whole thing, but I really like the song. Definitely some out of my element. I don't listen to rock, I don't listen to rock music, only R&B and rap, you feel me? So for me to listen to that rock and coming from Juice is like, all right, it's cool. I love Hate the Other Side. Truthfully, it's a nice fast-paced bop. Everybody on their part on the song did their job. I believe it was Kid Laroi, Polo G, Juice WRLD, absolutely all did their part, did an amazing job making a good song. Blood on My Jeans is another song like Titanic I described before, of it being like a hard-hitting song that comes at you, and even though it's kind of, I don't want to say a basic rap song, some might look at it as filler, I truthfully like it. Righteous was another track that was released. It was a very emotional track, talking again, detailing his drug addiction, and this song really just captivated to me and showed me that he kind of knew it was pretty much game over in a way. I feel like when you're that deep into drugs, you can get out. It's gonna take a bunch of work. But this to me just screams that like he kind of knew his time was coming to an end with all the drugs he was taking and all this. And this song really captivates it. Even the music video had like clips of Juice WRLD kind of celebrating his life, and they had that animation at the end. Just a beautiful track, honestly. A beautiful track, soft tone, absolutely good. A part of me wishes that this album could have been the last Juice WRLD album, because it felt like everything fell into place for this album to happen and for it to succeed. Again, the songs were amazing. The atmosphere of it is unmatched, and why I'm going to give this a second. I'm going to put this second on my tier list. I feel pretty good having this on the second list right here. Absolutely love this album. And let's move on now to the number one spot. At number one, I have Goodbye and Good Riddance as the best Juice WRLD album in his catalog. This album would be released on May 23rd, 2018, and serve as Juice's debut album. The lore behind this album, as I mentioned before, was actually about Bella, as it was originally titled F.U. Bella, and most of the track list included her name in it. However, it was changed. Jumping into the yellow tier, we only have two songs here. We got Intro and Betrayal Skit. The intro, I almost gave it a green. I can't lie. This was one where I'm like, all right, I might give it a green, because I love how it segued into All Girls Are the Same. And it created this, it has this like tired atmosphere. It's just something about this album that captivates this tired, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, going through different girls, maybe doing the same routine over again, and you're just tired. Like, you're just numb, you're tired to it. And that's what this captivates, specifically the intro. However, I did just give it a yellow, because I'm like, all right, do I really like it? I had to really evaluate and ask myself. And Through evaluation, I realized, all right, this is a yellow, but it could make it a green. Potentially, if there's one track from here that could be a green, it would be intro. Betrayal, I don't really like. Again, is kind of filler. It is a connects to a story. However, it's something I can pass on. In the green tier, we have Armed and Dangerous and Black and White. I'll Be Fine, Used to, Candles, Scared of Love, Hurt Me, and Karma. Armed and Dangerous is a really good hype song. This is even in the same category as Black and White. These two are just like the party songs. Armed and Dangerous, I really like. It's good to see Juice WRLD again show this type of hype music in his song, even though this is mainly about heartbreak. It's still one of them type of like hype songs where like you hype but you hurt inside. That's the kind of vibe I get from both Armed and Dangerous and also Black and White. Black and White describing the party lifestyle, taking Xans, coke, all these different drugs, and again just hurt inside. That's all I can really get from these songs, is that you're hurt inside, obviously, and you're trying to just ignore it with partying and the degenerate lifestyle. Used to, it's a really unique track. It creates this kind of like spaced out, iced out, you got like the echo going on. It really just has this cold atmosphere. Talking about like his heartbreak, it don't hurt as bad as it used to. Talk about he'll have no friends, or he has no friends as well. He's gonna die alone, basically. Like, it just really has this sad, cold vibe to it. And it's really, this song was actually my favorite song for the longest time, especially in high school. But over time, I realized that, all right, it's good, but it's not even really cyan good. I'm going to just give it a green as well. Scared of Love, to me, is definitely the most raw song out of this, and is the most, like, pure. I love the vocals on here. I believe if Juice WRLD would have picked a better beat, which, like I said, this is where this discussion really comes in. Because if you would have picked a better beat from this, you would have extracted so much more from this song. And even though this song is really, really good, really tells a story, and this is like the pinnacle of the album, in my opinion. Like, if we're gonna sum up heartbreak in one song, it's Scared of Love, in my opinion. The cyan tier consists of 5 tracks: Lucid Dreams, Lean With Me, End of the Road, and Long Gone. Lucid Dreams, it is a cyan tier. It is really, really, really popular. Obviously his main song, so it did get a little bit overplayed, but I still will give it a cyan, because I remember, I was bumping this song, bro. I was legit bumping this song all the time. A good hype song, to anyone out there. Yes, Lucid Dreams is a hype song, in my opinion. I don't know how people can get sad to this song, personally. This is one of them hype songs. We got End of the Road, which I believe should have been the last song in the album, because not only the title, but just the way it ends, it kind of ends on this like somber type of note. Moving on to the blue tier, we have 2 tracks in here: All Girls Are the Same and I'm Still. All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dream was 2 songs where I almost had at one point in the same tier. I almost actually had cyan. I almost had Lucid Dreams and cyan, but I ended up putting this above it. I just like, again, the non-verbal, like the non-verbal cues this displays. I really like how it feels like you can hear that he sounds tired. You can tell that he sounds tired in this track, and it's like this insanity. He keeps running into the same amount of girls, or the same types of girls rather, and it's just like you could tell it's kind of taking a toll on his mental. And this is like one of those venting songs that you just have. And the beat, it's a bit more chilled out. It's not really as hype as Lucid Dreams, and for me, I really like that. I value that a bit more. This is why I am putting it in the blue tier. With I'm Still, I really like, and what stands out in this track mostly is the momentum it has. You build up, I feel like, this momentum starting with, obviously the first few verses, but I feel like when it comes to the fell in love with your face off the shrooms, the way it animates your eyes in the room, I can see the stars while I'm gazing at you. Now I need the car with the stars in the roof. Like, just the way that I feel like at that point, that's kind of like the tipping point when it comes to the momentum. It builds up to that point, and I just really like how this flows, man. I really like how it flows. I like the singing he has. and the beginning and the end specifically. Lyrics are, they're okay, I will say. It's kind of like the same redundant thing, of course. The beat selection is actually decent, I will say. I will give credit where credit is due. I do like the beat in this, making this a blue tier. Also, just the amount of memories I've made with this song. It's just incredible. It's really incredible. Last but not least, in the purple tier, and so far in this series, the only purple tier is Wasted. Everything that I have stated before with every other song of how I love the beat, I love the lyrics, I love the non-verbal key, like that word. I've been using that word so much throughout the video. Put that into this song times 10. All right, this song is so memorable. Uzi did his thing too. I will say I like Juice's verse a bit more. Per se, I really do like it a bit more. But Uzi did his thing. I will say Uzi did his thing. And this song is truthfully memorable, absolutely memorable. I love the song. I love the lyrics. Again, the momentum it comes in with, and how it's just so beautiful. A beautiful track, in my opinion, to a beautiful album. In conclusion, I really like this album. Obviously, it being number one. Also, not even just with this album, but with kind of every other Juice album in general, just his whole kind of image, his whole just energy. It's something about Juice WRLD that kind of that I gravitate to, per se, because as me being more, I'm a straight edge dude. I never did no drugs, no alcohol. I'm pretty, I get my good sleep. Like, your boy's pretty much like a good boy, a good Christian boy. And for Juice WRLD to be kind of this degenerate in a way, just heartbroken, drugs, just everything. Like, it's kind of, you can see how he's kind of broken and living this kind of degenerate lifestyle, this fast party lifestyle. And to me, as someone that's not living that lifestyle and doesn't, really want to live that lifestyle, I will say that it is cool to see it from a different perspective, to see an artist to truly live out that lifestyle. And also curiosity. I believe curiosity definitely brought me to Juice WRLD, and it's kind of cool to see not only the evolution. I'm not gonna flat out say, okay, I was here since the beginning. I was probably here like late 2018, but to see kind of how Juice's career panned out while he was alive and post Juice WRLD, it's kind of sad to see how the state is in now. Thankfully though, he does have a lot of music. He did make a lot. If I'm not mistaken, I think he made like 2K songs, that's some crazy work ethic. But he definitely made some songs here, so we are expecting to get, I would hope, some tracks here and there. Hopefully some more projects that are really good. You know what I mean? I really hope so. But in general, man, Juice WRLD and just this entire discography is special. Well, that's my personal ranking of all the Juice WRLD albums. Let me know in the comment section below what your personal ranking is. Of course, I want to know. I want to see, comment down the songs down below, what you think, albums, whatever. You know what I mean? Anything Juice WRLD related. I also wanted to say real quick, side note, post-editing, I appreciate everyone that has been watching me and just supporting over these past few weeks. I know this is one of those videos where I've had in the vault for so long, and it took me a while to get this done, honestly. So I just want to say I appreciate everyone that stuck around. And hey, man, expect some more music content on the way. I can promise that for sure. With all that being said, man, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.